Okay, Oliver was shouting out some answers. He made the comment that both of them are 0.1. Did anybody not get 0.1? I bet several of you did not get 0.1. Oliver is actually correct in this one. Surprise, surprise, but yep. Oliver is correct on this one. Both of these are 0.1, and you go, ooh, I didn't get that on my calculator. And it's because how you operate your calculator. Okay? So what you have to do, Oliver said, and this is a very good way of doing it, he said you have to go the sign of 60, then press equals, and then do the divided by, and then the 5 square root of 3, and then press equals, and then you get 0.1. Did everybody now get 0.1? No. Okay? Now, the 5 square root of 3, you might have to put in parentheses because it automatically makes a parenthesis here, but try 2 sets of parentheses here. Now try it. Sine of 60 equals, and then divided by 5 square root of 3 equals. Sorry, what? Now, did you get 5 square? I got 0.3. I got 0.1. So you need parentheses in there.
Yeah, that's why I got 0.3 first time.
Yep. We need to do parentheses. So you got to be careful when square roots are involved and things like that. Okay? So sine of 60, press equals, divided by parenthesis 5. And then when you hit the square root button, it automatically makes a parenthesis in there. And so you close the one parenthesis, and then you hit the next parenthesis, so you close that again. Okay? So the sine of 30 divided by 5, that worked for everybody, right? To get 0.1? Okay. What about the sine of 90 over 10? What's that? 0.1. They're all the same thing. So the sine of an angle over its opposite side should equal the sine of an angle over its opposite side should equal the sine of an angle over its opposite side, which is the law of sines. For any triangle with side lengths of A, B, and C, and its opposite angles are capital A, capital B, capital C. That is very important for this. Whatever the angle is, its opposite side is the same letter, only a small letter. Whatever the angle is, its opposite is the same letter, only a small letter. Okay? The sine of A over A equals the sine of B over B, which equals the sine of C over C. So if you have opposites, you can figure out any side or any angle of a triangle. Here we have opposites. What two opposites do we have? I am frozen. My goodness, I've been frozen the whole time. Look at all this writing I've been doing. My goodness. All right. But the law of sines, as long as you have opposites, you have the law of sines. Okay? All right. So do we have opposites here in this one? Do we have opposites? What numbers are opposites? 77 and 7. These are opposites, so we can use law of sines to figure out everything there. Okay, but we're just going to figure out what y is. So here's our opposites. Okay, and we want yz. Let's just put an x over here. Okay, because it's opposite of x. Here are our opposites. So the sine of my angle, 77, over its opposite side, 7, equals the sine of my angle, 51, over its opposite side, x. Okay? This is called a proportion. In middle school, you learn to solve proportions by doing what? Cross multiplying, okay? X times the sine of 77 equals 7 times the sine of 51. So then we divide by the sine of 77. And now, if you aren't careful with your calculator, if you just try to type that all in at once, you're going to get the wrong answer. So this is your steps, okay? These cancel. So you take 7 times the sine of 51. Then you press the equal sign. And then you press the division sign. And you divide by the bottom. And then you push the equal sign again. Thank you, Oliver. 5.6. Are we good with that? That's the basics of law of sines. That's not that hard, right? That's the basics. We do go a little more advanced, but not too advanced. Okay? All right. Angle C is 38 degrees. Angle B is 101 degrees. Side B is 19. We want to find side C. Do we know opposites here? Yes. So I write the sine of 101 over 19 equals, to find C, it's the sine of 38 over C. Okay, let's do a little shortcut on this one. Okay? We don't have to cross multiply, but we don't have to write it out. You start on the bottom. Take this times this, press equals, and then divide by this, and press equals. Okay, that's cross multiplication. Okay? This times this, press equals, divided by this, press equals. C equals? Ooh, we got some. I got some 11.9s. If you got 30, you might have forgot to press equals halfway through it. $11.9 or 12.0? Because it's 11.9.
It's 11.91.
Yeah.
One is not.
Are we all right? Okay. So we're at 11.9 is what we have a consensus for this, right? Okay. Can I find A? Oliver, sit down. I know she did, because you were playing with a paper airplane, and she was cleaning up your disastrous mess that you just made. Yep. So, Oliver, could I figure out what A is using the law of sines? Probably. How? Do I know its opposite angle? What is its opposite angle? A, but how big is it? There you go. Good way to help out your buddy there, Jack. Uh-huh, because you were too busy playing with the paper airplanes. All right, so because you want to know A, you need to know the angle opposite. Well, if we know two angles of a triangle, we always know three angles. Take 180 minus 101 minus 38, and that's like 41, right? So 41 is our remaining angle. So to figure out A, we go with what we know. We don't use this 11.9 because that's a rounded answer. Okay? We go with what we're given. The sine of 101 over 19, opposites. And then if we want to find A, we do opposites. Sine of 41 over A. So take this times this, press equals, divided by this, press equals, and what do you get? 12.7. Now, let's see if that makes sense. 101-degree angle is opposite the longest side. The middle angle, 41, is opposite the medium side. And the smallest angle is opposite the shortest side. Okay? Should make sense. Okay, so that's figuring out lengths of sides using law of sines. Pretty easy. Just find opposites. Okay. Let's find angles now. Okay? All right, it only involves one more step is all. Just one more step. Okay, 12.3 and 74 are opposites, right? So then 12.7 is opposite of what? S. So, there's our opposite. So we say the sine of what? What's my only angle I know? 74. The sine of my angle over its opposite side, 12.3, equals the sine of the angle that I want, which is, in this case, S over its opposite side, 12.7. So cross multiply. So 12.7 times the sine of 74, press equals, and divide by 12.3, and then press equals. So you start on the bottom over here. Start on the bottom, times this, press equals, divided by this, press equals. And what do you get? Like something less than 0. Do you think this angle right here is like 0.1 or something like that? 0.99 something? Do you think that angle is that size? No, it's not. Okay? So what went wrong? Well, that's the sine of the angle is what you just found. So the sine of angle S equals, give me 4 decimal places, point. So how do we get S alone? We move the sine to the other side, which makes it the inverse sine.
It's 83. 83.
If we round to the nearest whole number,
83.
83 degrees. Round to the nearest whole number, 83 degrees. So if S is 83, what's R? $23 degrees? Because 180 minus 74 minus 83. Okay. Okay. Measure of angle A is 47. Side A is 28. Side C is 26. How do we figure out angle C? Okay. This time when we take it through it, I'm going to take you through one little shortcut on your calculator, which will make life easier. Okay? So let's set it up. How do we set it up? Sine of 47 over 28 equals sine of C over 26. So which number do we start with on our calculator? Start with 26. 26 times the sine of 47 equals, divided, just Mackenzie, just wait, divided by 28. Press equals. And now I'm going to give you another. Leave that number on your calculator. Okay? You get 0.7 something, 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 right? I don't care what it is. And then you're going to push, after you get that decimal on there, you're going to push second sine, and then second again, and then the answer button, which is this, right down by the equal sign. Second sine, second answer. So you're taking the inverse sine of the answer that you got from right here. Okay, you're taking the inverse sine of the answer that you got from right there. That's a shortcut on the calculator. How many degrees? 43 degrees, which makes B how many degrees? Which makes B how many degrees? 90 degrees. Okay, does everybody know how to use the second sign, second answer buttons on your calculator? Makes things really nice. All right. Now, we just figured out angles. Now we're going back to figure out sides. This airplane pilot is flying from Omaha to Chicago, but there's a bad storm in between Omaha and Chicago. So instead of flying directly, he flies around the storm. So he goes this way for a certain distance. We'll call it X. And then he turns 113 degrees and flies for Y until he gets to Chicago. How far did he fly if the normal flight path he would fly is 471 miles? How far did he actually fly? Well, if this is 22 degrees, what's this angle over here by Omaha? If this is 22 degrees and we have 113 here, what's the angle by Omaha? 45 degrees. Okay, so to figure out X is opposite of what? 22, and do I know two other opposites? 113 and 471. So the sine, whoa, I don't know where I went. Where did I go? The sine of 113 over 471 equals the sine of 22 over x. How do we get x alone? 471, start at the bottom, times the sine of 22, press equals, divided by the sine of 113, press equals. 100, let's round to the nearest whole number. 196 or 7? 192. Okay? So, then to find y, we're going to use the sine of 113 over 471 equals the sine of 45 over y. So it's 471 times the sine of 45, press equals, divided by the sine of 113, press equals. What do you get? 362. So if we take 362 plus 192, and we get 4, 5, 5, right? So he, instead of flying 471 miles, his normal flight path, he flew 554 miles. Okay? All right, so the law of sines. Sine of A over A equals sine of B over B, which equals sine of C over C. The letter and the capital letter is the angle. The opposite side is the same letter, but only the lowercase letter. Okay? When you're finding an angle. When you're finding an angle, it's second answer, or second sign, second answer. Thank you. Second sign, second answer. Okay, today on one of the problems, it'll be a triangle, and you have to use the distance formula to figure out the distance from here to here and from here to here. Remember, the distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, it's Savas realized. So go out to a Google Classroom, click on the assignment, and get started. You have almost 20 minutes to work on this, and we need to get to work. Oliver, don't be a pain in my rear. Thank you. Oliver, take care of it. Give it back to Mackenzie.